System riding to the core. Yeah. Reppin' inner city left.
This is the Inner City Left broadcast. Today is Thursday, March 5th. I'm Amin TMK alongside Amoja, Lil Tanky Sumler. Amoja, hello. How you doing? I'm not doing good. Tell me how you doing.
Man, wow. You know, if I had to rate how I'm doing, shit, I'm going to give it a 15 out of 10, bro.
Earlier today, that's what Trump said.
Perfect and a half, bro.
Trump said, they asked Donald Trump how the war was doing, and he said, rated out of 10. He said 15 out of 10. You know what I want to know? This is what I want to know, Tanky. If they're doing so well, why did they need to delete our broadcast the last time? Why did they remove it from Apple and Spotify? I try to be professional. Don't I try to be professional?
No, that only happens in North Korea. They don't do censorship.
State media, Russia.
Exactly. It's China.
Yeah. So if you're a podcast listener and you're hearing this, first of all, maybe that's a miracle. I don't know if they'll ever be allowed to post again. But if you are a podcast listener and you're wondering, hey, Inner City Left, they're sitting out one of the biggest geopolitical events in the world. No, we weren't actually. I'm not going to go too much into it, but basically our podcast. Yeah. And then look, people want to say, hey, get off Spotify, get off Apple, blah, 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 blah. 80% of
where the people are. You know,
80% of our listeners are there. And like, it's ridiculous that this is the biggest story in the world. It's everyone's opinion should matter on this. And they're just deleting content for no reason. Of course, there's no reason. Of course, there's no email. Yeah, it's information war, which means the things that you say that don't go with this propaganda narrative that we have has to go. So they're just deleting broadcasts. And this was the first one we've ever had deleted. It's still up on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you might have seen it. And for our podcast listeners who are on Apple or Spotify or any of these other sites, go check us out on YouTube. It's crazy that we are on YouTube. We're allowed to be on YouTube, but we're not allowed to be on Spotify and Apple Music. That's just crazy to me. Like, this is how bad it's getting. But anyway, I don't want to harp on this too much because I do want to talk about a lot of things going on right now, as we do, which is journalism, or I guess, I don't know what we do. They just don't want to see us win. We're corresponding. Let's talk some wars, shall we?
Let's do.
You know this guy, head of NATO, Mark Rutte.
Daddy.
Mark Rutte, yeah, daddy.
Well, technically, he's not daddy. He calls daddy. Trump daddy.
He calls Trump Big Daddy. That's correct. Here he is talking about NATO and Trump and all the good stuff. Here we go.
NATO is there to protect us collectively against any adversary, be it Russia or whoever, or terrorism. But also it is a platform for the United States to project power on the world stage. Because this whole operation now, this whole campaign in Iran needs these basing requests to be positively engaged with by NATO allies, as they are doing, making use of key assets here in Europe. So the fact that we stick together, the United States and Europe and Canada, is crucial also for the success of this American-Israeli campaign.
So, of course, we got United States, we have Europe, we have Canada, and we have the Israelis, you know, and they're all together. They have a big group, and they're trying to keep the world safe. Just some thoughts on what Mark Rutte said.
So there's going to be some winners and there's going to be some losers, right? I'm not going to get into how long how long this is going to take place. I think you got some slides that's going to touch on that a little bit later. But I will say this. The Straits of Hormuz carries anywhere between 20 to 40, on a good day, on a normal day, anywhere from 20 to 40% of the world's petroleum and natural gas flows. Each of those big super tankers that goes out of there leaves with about $150 million worth of petroleum products. Yesterday, 5 went out. On a good day, 60 normally go out. Now, some quick maths. That's 55 that didn't. $150 million, okay, worth of product times 55 gives you 8,250,000,000 a day that is not going out into the global markets, petroleum markets. It just doesn't exist. Now you stretch this out over time, right? And you start to see who the real losers are going to be. Again, the United States is the largest petroleum producer in the world. If anybody gets hurt, we'll get hurt last as far as that goes. But economically, it's where that hit goes because there's less on the market now. No American government, no Western government is going to do the strong move of fixing the price, preventing speculation, right? So because there's less on the market and we're a capitalist economy, it's your natural God-given right to speculate on petroleum, which is pushing the prices up everywhere. Now, people are beyond there. The higher cost is not even your biggest problem. Access to petroleum is the biggest problem. And not everybody has that. Countries like South Korea, kind of out in the wind right now. Japan, out in the wind. All of Europe, out in the wind. China can still do petroleum business with Russia, or the United States if they want to. You know what I'm saying? Because they move in big enough volumes that, they can afford to pay it. Europe doesn't produce petroleum. You know what I'm saying? Europe normally would buy their petroleum from the United States. Back in the day, they would be getting it from Russia. They would be getting it from the Middle East. Europe no longer has access to this oil. Every day this is closed, every day that the Straits of Hormuz cannot be opened, this is real damage to economies that cannot be overcome. It's something that you can't fix even with money because petroleum runs the world. Petroleum is how you go to work. Petroleum is the tax on everything. Before you pay anything, you pay petroleum.
And I think, sort of to his point, you have now Europe is destroying itself. I don't want to say destroying itself, but there are people that are in positions of power. The Mark Rutte's, the Kaya Kallases, the van der Leyens, the Macrons, the Starmers, the BlackRock Mertz. Those are sort of the controlling forces in Europe right now. And they kind of are putting their chips in against this war with Russia. And now, of course, they have nothing but they have to jump in, at least in terms of support when it comes to anything that America is doing. But you mentioned the Straits of Hormuz, and that's absolutely a big issue right now. And maybe, we can sort of, I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but this is Donald Trump saying that U.S. Navy warships are going to begin escorting oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. This is Donnie J. Effective immediately, I've ordered the United States Development Finance Corporation, DFC, which I've never heard of, to provide at the very reasonable price. It has to be a reasonable price. Political risk insurance and guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy, traveling through the Gulf. This will be available to all shipping lines. If necessary, the United States Navy will begin escorting tankers to the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. No matter what, the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world. The United States' economic and military might is the greatest on earth. More actions to come. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donnie J. What about that? Why is that? First of all, why is it so? I mean, you already kind of mentioned how imperative it is that the Straits of Hormuz be open for sort of economic trade. But why is this? Or maybe it's a good plan. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this good, bad plan? What are the pitfalls here?
I'm throwing up my hands like I'm in the Four Horsemen because you have four problems that have to be addressed before anything can happen about moving a super tanker through the Straits of Hormuz. One, Iran says their data is closed. So that's a problem. You have to go through fire support. Second problem, the United States Navy does not have enough vessels to shield all of those super tankers. 50, 60 super tankers going through, day and night. So that's the second problem. Okay, without bringing themselves also under fire control, which looks like it's part of the Iranian trap. 3, you have to ensure these types, it's $150 million. There has to be insurance on these kind of things. Normally, this kind of stuff is done by Lloyd's of London. Lloyd's has already said, nah, we don't want no parts of this because they know they're going to have to pay out. It's great when you're getting the money. It's not great when you're paying the money. So now we have the insurance company that America has, I've never heard of, you've never heard of, offering insurance. Who even knows? Because again, this is not communism, this is capitalism. So they're going to be giving that to you at a premium. You're going to have to pay insurance. And who knows? How do you get that money back? If something goes wrong, you're going to sue the American government? Okay? Which brings us to the fourth problem. Even if you can get these vessels insured, even if the United States could escort all of these vessels, even if fire control from Iran could be neutralized, which it has not, captains have to be brave enough to run it. This is running a gauntlet. While you're piloting a ship of highly reactive petrochemicals, any type of fire is a bad idea. So those are the 4 reasons why, no matter what the president says right now, this is not really going to happen. And we're already starting to see some pushback with the Navy. Like, even though the president said that, the Navy came out not very long after that and said, we are not providing escorts to ships. So that problem has not yet been solved. And I just want to, again, refer to the numbers because they're striking. At this rate, in just a week, that represents $57 billion, $750 million removed from the global economy. Times 4, let's take it to a month. A month, if this carries on, that represents a loss to the global economy of $231 billion every month. And now there's estimates that, the first day it was going to be a quick war. The second day it was going to be like 2 or 3 days. We're going to finish up the weekend. The third day it was like, it's going to be about like 3 or 4 weeks. And now we got estimates that this could run all the way to September. I just don't see how the global economy can survive that type of hit. And that's just counting raw loss of product, right? Because that product does something, right? It's created into other products, which stimulate the economy. But also that product must exist. It's not like cash, like a dollar, where the dollar represents something. The petroleum represents a commodity that must be used, to make the entire global economy work. We're just not there yet. Not with nuclear, not with solar, not with, the only other thing you could do to replace this is like coal. So
funny thing about
environmentalists.
Funny thing about capitalism in general, it's a speculative market. So whether or not, the Dow's been 500 points down yesterday. It's down today.
Are we under $50,000? Are we under 50,000? Because that means we could talk about the Epstein files.
Right. I don't want to talk about the Epstein files because let's look at the Dow Jones. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and look up, see what's going on. But I know it was down 500 points. My miete, Habibi, 50,000. No, my friend, we had 47. We had 47 there. Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's down.
50,000.
My friend, can I tell you something?
We have to stop talking about the war, man.
No, we got to start talking about Epstein. 1,000 points down today. It's not good. It's not looking good, bro.
Pam Bondi ain't gonna like this.
Well, yeah, she's going to have to start talking about something. So we've already 500 points down yesterday. So they're 47, bro. You were talking about over 50? We're 47.
Man, the good old days.
$1 trillion wiped up the stock market if you look globally. Okay. $1 trillion. So far, this is a conservative estimate. $5.4 billion just off the additional money that was needed in this few days already against Iran. $5.4 billion would be able to house 25% of all homeless people and possibly end food shortages and starvation within the United States. But we're just going to go ahead and drop $5.4 billion on this war amongst the, of course, $1 trillion budget that we already have. Not to mention
and
that
we're going to need it.
There's no audits. Right, you can't pass an audit. And the thing is, with all the money and all the technology and all of this, the United States is still getting rocked.
Yeah,
let's talk about some. Yeah, no, go ahead. Let's talk about some things that have been happening to these American bases.
You're talking about, you know what I'm saying, the money that's not going to be brought into the economy, but then we also have to look at the losses, right? So as it stands, we've lost 4 F-15 EXs. Those are about $70 million a pop. Some say it was Iranian fire. Some say it was Kuwaiti fire. Some say it was friendly fire. Some say one Kuwaiti and an F-18 shot 4. I mean, wow, like Buddy's a fucking ace, man. These are the official stories our government is telling us, because they just can't admit, they're a little bit tougher than we thought. We went in. We've lost several radars in the Middle East. All of the time that we've spent building up these bases throughout the global war on terror in places like Bahrain, places like Qatar, places like the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait that were built to spy on any type of unrest in the Middle East and to foment chaos in Iran. They have been damaged. We've had billions of dollars of losses on these bases. Like, that's stuff that even when you have $1 trillion budget, you just can't fix that, And now we have complaints. Criticism is perhaps the right word. Criticism from the Gulf states saying that, they gave up that land for the protection of the American military umbrella. And it looks like all of that protection is really just went to Israel. So at this point, they feel played. So it's hard to feel like they'll even allow the Americans back in to rebuild these things. Like, these are relationships that they spent 30 years building, 40 years building, that have been damaged, perhaps irreparably, just in the last week.
Well, you are wrong, my friend. You're wrong about this. This war is only going to take 4 or 5 days, man. I mean, 5 to 6 weeks, okay? Look, it's only going to be 6 to 7 months, okay? You keep talking to me. It's not going to be that long, man. Maybe just 2 or 3 more years. But you want to act like this is a 20-year war. I'm trying to cut that in half. 10 years. That's it. That's all we want. They keep pushing it back, how long it's going to take. It looks like, again, I just want to say to all the people who are like constantly saying, oh, America can't lose, America can't be beat, blah, 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 blah. We've been telling you that's not true. We've been telling you missile capabilities in Iran are beyond what America can do. It's beyond what the Iron Dome can handle. But they went out there. That's what they do. They sell people a false bill of goods and say, we will protect you. Bahrain, destroyed. Smashed. They still hitting it. UAE smashed. Okay. Israel's already doing false flags. If you believe some of the reports, and blaming it on Iran. We've seen Aramco get hit. We've seen Cyprus get hit. There are, again, this is a situation as fluid. Tel Aviv, explosions in Tel Aviv. Happy Starface. And they have been getting battered. So this idea of course, that it's 4 to 5 days to 5 to 6 weeks to 6 to 7 months to whatever it is, it probably can't get done. Regime change, not possible. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because I also want to get to this as well, because this is not, it's not just about it's not just about winning a war and strategy. And, you know, of course that is. I mean, that's why you're tanky, you know, that you provide that for us in the weeds. But let's also just talk about the destruction that Iran now has to face. And this is from Eldar Mamadov. And this, he says, the Gaza playbook arrives in Iran. Schoolgirls killed. They shouldn't have been there. Video evidence, fake news. Civilian deaths, the IRGC did it. It's never about the killing. It's about the dehumanization that follows. May those who do this rot in double H hockey sticks forever. We go back 180 school girls killed in what many are saying is possibly an AI implemented attack, whatever it is. You know, again, I know they want to wipe their hands from whatever. But Iran is suffering a great deal, multiple strikes in Tehran. And we've talked about this, Tanky, like what's happening in Gaza is going to spread to the entire world. All the things that we've allowed, the mass death, the mass bombing, the systemic rape, the systemic loss of basic needs. You know, this is their playbook. This is the Israeli-American playbook. And as, you know, this tweet suggests, who is even safe? Not civilians, certainly.
Yeah, and in many ways, right? When you start to look at the way that the war is being conducted, it's almost as if you want to inflame these people so that the wars continue on. Because day one, you killed 178 schoolgirls that were going to get their education, and you killed their holy leader, right, on Ramadan. You know, I mean, just seems like a recipe to make a generation of people hate you forever. And the irony is, where the Americans and where the West were most beloved were, one, in the cities, and two, with the younger demographics. Like, you're literally killing the people that were like against the government, saying, why don't you work with the Americans? Why won't you try? Like, a whole generation is being lionized right now. And I just want to keep running this number because it's the more you look at it, the more ridiculous it is. So again, looking at this carrying out as it is right now, at the numbers that exist without any type of remedy, played out over just 1 year, represents $3 trillion worth of exposure. That's if it doesn't get any worse than it already is, which is altogether possible.
Yeah. And from all aspects of society, culturally, economically, militarily, this is just degrading, again, the general safety of the world. This is a war by choice. The nuclear weapons, the whole thing, they said 4 months ago that they had completely destroyed the capability. We know that wasn't true, but that's what they said. There's a lot of rumors that suggest that Iran was willing to give up every single piece of enriched uranium and never, even for non-military purposes, ever use nuclear energy. That was on the table. It would have been a real feather in Donald Trump's cap, something Obama was never able to accomplish, and they still said no, because we know that the missile technology in Iran is just too good for Israel, too good for America. And all of those military bases in the Middle East, like you said, they can never go back to representing the safety of the region, because as long as you have an American base in your country, you're a target. And that's what this, I think, has been the paradigm shift. There's been conversations about decolonizing sort of the Middle East. And again, this is going to have repercussions for a long time.
What did they think that would look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone said free Gaza. Like, what did they think that would look like? Like, did you think you were going to be able to vote out? You know, we just had a war powers resolution where the Senate decided that they did not want to even rein in the power of, I almost said George W. Bush, because we're in a time loop, of Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? And so for all of those people, it's like, oh, this is, the Democrats, if only they would have had a chance. No, they wouldn't have. The fact remains, a lot of people saw Iran as a trap. However, because of their political donor class, they were obligated to try. So to many Democrats, it was like, we'd rather there not be a vote one way or the other. Because if it goes good, we can jump in on a gravy train. If it goes bad, we can blame Trump and possibly impeach, I do want to touch back on what you were saying about the students being killed, though, because that's another part of the American lie, right? We're there to bring freedom to the women, like not realizing that female literacy in Iran is 99.3%. That's higher than American. Maternal mortality is 16%. In America, it's 19%. There's 16,000 sports clubs just for women. You know what I'm saying? Like unemployment for women in Iran was 13.7%. Again, lower than the United States of America. So like all of these things exist. Like there are more more women STEM graduates in Iran than there are in the United States of America. And we're talking about a population of 325 million versus a population of 90 million. Again, it's just important that people not infantilize these countries, right? Because you think that they're not Western, you think that they're not sophisticated. I want to remind you again, Iran has 3 times the population of Canada. Tehran is a bigger metropolitan area by way of population than New York City. Like, these are not primitive cultures. This is an ancient 5,000-year-old culture, and they're showing their sophistication right now by attacking in ways that are asymmetric, engaging where they can, causing damage where they can. You know what I'm saying? So far, what their plan seems to have survived first contact. It seems to be able to work even without direct supervision by a larger governmental apparatus. In spite of how much of their leadership has reportedly been destroyed, there's still reports that over 50 impacts happened in Israel just yesterday. And that's just Israel. They're attacking everywhere where the American presence is, and the American tentacles are everywhere. And so, like, when you get guys like, what's up, that clown ass dude that the liberals love, Jon Stewart, Iran is just attacking everywhere. No, they're attacking American bases that happen to be surrounding their country because those same bases are supplying the material support for the attack that is happening on their nation. It's the most childish thing ever to think that you can hit people and you won't get hit back. And this is why I know that you yourself also are anti-war. This is why Inner City Left condemns war. We've said any number of times on this podcast, war is the worst thing that humans do.
Well said. And that's absolutely a part of our platform. I don't know what's going to transpire. I would love to see, I wish we had a country where there was some sort of pushback electorally, but, the Democrats failed again. Unable to, after the fact, even condemn sort of, this unprovoked attack on Iran. You got, people like Elizabeth Warren coming out and critiquing, yet about a week ago, there was the State of the Union address. And as soon as Donald Trump got up there and was talking about, Iran, we're going to have to go after them. They're a huge state sponsor of terrorism and all that, blah, blah, blah. Did the Democrats sit down? Did they boo?
Elizabeth Warren got up and clapped just like everyone else.
It was beautiful what you said, Donald Trump. It's like standing, I remember when they had the the literal FFSS Swaffenfass from the literal Nazi brigade that was being
in Canada
applauded at Canada. I mean, yeah, I mean that's the same thing.
It's almost like the West is cool with Nazi shit.
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu comes to speak at Congress. Well, the whole Congress is standing up. You'd have thought you just got finished watching, I don't know, the Super Bowl or the X Games or something. Everybody standing, applauding. Wow, so proud. Music recital, tears going down their chest. He's so brave. And this is like, again, the reason why we're always like, please support third-party candidates, because there's no Democrats that are on our sides.
Look, if you are a right-wing person and you found your way to here, hey, kudos to you for being 30 minutes in and you still listening. Full fucking libertarian, okay? Like, I'm not trying to ruin it for your little Republican guys, but I pretty much feel like they probably not meeting your needs either. And if you claim to be a leftist, you have to understand there is nowhere for you in the Democratic Party. Not Mamdani, not the cute little bartender, not racist grandpa. There are no progressives, not the angry black girl that just got beat in Texas, not the gang, the squad. All that shit is corny. When it comes time to vote for the war, they line up and stand up and clap.
Yep. Exactly. It's called continuity of agenda. So no matter what they want to push out, that this, that, and the third, they want to change this. And, when it comes to really put the money where their mouth, and when it comes to the real votes, they will always side with empire. And that's the part about America that's difficult, when you have the Trump derangement syndrome and all this other stuff. And, well, I voted for Kamala, so you can't blame me. Like, blame is supposed to be like something that we're pointing at individual voters. Like, obviously, this is the United States. This is Israel. They've been wanting to destabilize Iran for a long time. They went in, because as much as they're getting beat now, if they wait 5 or 10 more years, it might be an even worse, because that missile technology is getting better and better. And, we haven't talked about, the special military operation, but, Orishniks and Budaveshniks, those things exist. And that technology is not going to be, something that's under wraps forever. And if you already know that, I know Sergei Lavrov already came out, I think it was yesterday, and he was already talking about, we expect a free Gaza that governs themselves. Like, everybody is still sort of on the narrative of, and I'll just say this, and I'll let you finish. October 7th, Hamas, what they did, what they were able to accomplish, in a lot of ways, it leads right back to this, because Israel knows they could not ethnically cleanse without sort of stopping Iran. And now the United States and Israel has gone and done something that they can't undo. And I think Hamas knew about this from the jump. They kind of had that forethought. And this I think, again, is all stemming from that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What were you about to say? What are your thoughts and feelings? We're going to wrap up soon. But
you brought up Lavrov, and I just want to say this in closing. I think this should once and for all settle the difference between what a special military operation is and what real war looks like. Tehran looks worse in 1 week of bombing through the United States and Israel than Kyiv does. And that's through 4 years, right? Like, do you honestly think that the Israelis are capable of invoking more violence than the Russians? I'm not talking about willing to. I'm talking about capacity.
Capacity.
Right? Capacity. You've not seen Russia utilize that type of capacity yet anywhere in the Ukrainian conflict. So, again, I'm sorry, liberals, but y'all got to let that shit go, man. You can't be for like decolonialization and be for Ukraine when the first thing that Zelensky was like is like, let me send, my special drone operators to Israel to help them in this. Let me send air defense, to Israel to help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, somewhere you got to start to realize your praxis has failed you and you've been rooting for the bad guys.
Exactly. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And you, like you said, the Russia's special military operation against Ukraine is also a benefit for Palestine, just like China's economic pressure and how they wield economic power and social and cultural power as well is for the benefit of the global South. And, this is a war. I don't want to say the war, but another war, which is Western desire to have back to a unipolar world where they can control every region. And if it's going this bad with Iran, how on earth do you think it would go against China?
15 out of 10, bro.
Oh, right, 15 out of 10.
If it's going 15 out of 10 with Iran, it's probably going to go 20 out of 10 with 20, China. Mm-hmm.
No,
nothing to worry about at all.
It's perfect and a half now, but it's about to get double perfect with China.
Yeah. When I think about what Iran's capacity for violence is versus China's capacity, what possible problems could we have? And we have to talk about this. It's not theoretical because as we've been telling you on this show for years, violence against Iran was inevitable. It actually has very little to do with Israel and everything to do with America's great game policy, great game theory. That's where we are. Iran was a very important petroleum supplier to China, just like Venezuela. And what they're trying to do, little by little, is take away China's access to petroleum. Even the war in Ukraine has more to do with removing access to petroleum to China than any other thing that you think it's about. And I'm sorry that these things are all interwoven and that it, in fact, really is that deep. But it is.
Yeah. No, well said. Let's give a shout out to our podcast listeners. Lord knows you ain't heard us in a while. So we're available. I don't even want to say where we're available. I don't know what to say, Serge.
Hey, good fucking luck.
Yeah. I hope this next broadcast is on Spotify. I hope it's on Apple
May the odds be
Podcasts.
ever in your favor.
We don't know. This is just another reason why it's important to follow us on Inner City Left. Like, share, comment. Who even knows how long we're going to be able to do this? Patreon.com/InnerCityLeft. That's what's keeping us going. That's really what's keeping us popping right now. So we appreciate y'all. Fables, Foibles, Other American Sins, link in the description. Amin, TMK, Lil Tanky, where to find music. But Tanky, we already know they don't want our music to come out. There's several songs that haven't been put up on Instagram yet. They were refusing to let us upload one of our songs because it says it sounds just like a song that doesn't exist. We can't find the song that they say sounds like our song. So somehow this unreleased song, we found it and sampled it, and we now can't release it. So I don't want to hear nothing about
be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
And I proudly sit down. I mean, yeah. So I'm sorry.
The second chorus, I don't fucking know.
Nah. Maybe when I used to go see the fireworks as a little kid.
There it is.
In Maryland. Shout out to Maryland fireworks. And, it was a good time. That's where I first saw Kansas, my friend, as a child. Carry on my wayward son. My dad, man, he was losing. He was, I can't believe they got Kansas, man. They're so amazing. Yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. Final things we missed. What do you want to say to close this out?
If you fought with us, go bump our music. Please stream the whole shit on repeat. Find a song that you like. Tag us in the song. Like, oh shit, I love this one.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. And, but I also just want to say, thank you so much to everyone who does support us. We actually have a great, demographic of supporters and people that send us, good messages and tag us and subscribe and things like that. And we're just trying to build. Yeah, we're trying to just build more and more and more because, guys, no one's doing what we doing. I mean, they're doing something close to what we doing, but not what we doing. And that's why I know that we just necessary to the space, not to horn my own toot, but I think we're important. Anyway, for Amoja, Lil Tanky Summer, I'm Amin TMK. This is the Inner City Left broadcast. Peace.
System riding to the core. Yeah. Reppin' Inner City Left.